Welcome to Friday, March 17th, 2023. I'm here with Rod Arters, who is the on staff, works alongside Pastor Paul at Huntersville United Methodist Church. He always has a sore back from carrying Pastor Paul.
It's heavy. It's a heavy weight.
It is. I mean, he could. And we're talking about fasting. We're going to try to get Pastor Paul to fast a little so that
Good luck on that.
So that Rod doesn't have to carry as much weight around. I'm Steve Autrey, the smart aleck over at Denver United Methodist Church. Today's St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah,
so
that's right. I know. I didn't dress for it. I'm sorry.
Neither did I, because we're recording a couple of weeks out, and maybe on the day I'll actually dress for it. Yeah. So today we're continuing this conversation that kind of it's a variation on the theme. Mm-hmm. Jesus is saying this is what matters, your inward life, and I'm just going to read a couple of the passages that we haven't covered yet. This is Matthew 6, verse. I'm going to start with verse 16.
Okay.
And this is from the Kingdom translation, Kingdom New Testament. When you fast, don't be gloomy, like the play actors. They make their faces quite unrecognizable so that everyone can see their fasting. I'm telling you the truth, they have received their reward in full. No, when you fast, tidy your hair and beard the way you normally do and wash your face so that others won't notice your fasting except your Father privately. Then your Father who sees in private will repay you. So, what do you make of that?
Well, you know, it's funny when you get into the weeds of Christianity. It seems like God is always concerned about motive. It's not what's on the outside. It's not the external. It's always what's going on the inside.
Motive, yeah, the inward being.
The inward, yeah. And religion is really about the outward.
Right.
It's doing the outward behaviors that was what religion would require. And Jesus is constantly saying, forget the outward. We got to go inward, because I think he understands is that you do it from the inside out.
Yeah,
the inward behavior and inward character.
And that's a theme that runs certainly throughout Scripture. When Psalm 51, David's talking about the sacrifice that is acceptable to you, O Lord. Like, I could sacrifice 10,000 rams or bulls, but what is acceptable to you is a clean heart, right? The inward, not the outward. This idea of play actors, again, we'll get back to our propensity, and I can use that word with you because you'll understand it. When I use big words with Pastor Paul, he glazes over. But that our tendency to put our false self out there, and that is a big problem in our culture.
Yeah, and it's funny. He's mentioning it in first century, but we're in 21st century, and we still have the same issue.
We still do it.
Human nature hasn't changed. Your version says play actors. That others might have a translation that says hypocrite, which is literally what it is. It's an actor. It's playing a part.
Well, yeah, playing a role.
Not actually that part. You're an actor.
You know, one of the things this makes me think about is, my wife Marcy was very much paying attention to the Murdaugh trial. Yep. I think a lot of people were.
Sure.
And the idea that, and if you're not familiar with that, you just Google it.
Yeah.
But this gentleman, Alec Murdaugh, fooled people for a long time. Yeah. He was constantly stealing. He was maintaining an addiction to opioids, and he was stealing millions of dollars from his law firm and from his clients. And no one knew it. So what he was presenting on the outside was this generational power family that was always in control of that part of South Carolina. Supposedly upstanding member of the community and the legal community, but inwardly, everything was rotten.
Yeah. I mean, Jesus calls the Pharisees a whitewashed tomb. On the outside, you look great, but inside you were decaying.
Right, and you saw some of those whitewashed tombs when you were in Jerusalem. When you're coming down from the Mount of Olives, those are tombs, and they're above ground. They're like mini mausoleums.
That's right.
And the sun bakes them out, and they literally become whitewashed. And what he's saying is, it looks clean on the outside, but you get in there. For Judaism, anything associated with remains of a body is like the highest level of unclean.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? What's inside. He also says to them, look, you worry about washing the outside of the cup and don't wash the inside of the cup. But look, if you wash the inside of the cup, the outside naturally becomes clean. You can't help but wash the outside.
Right.
So again, that's inside out.
Yeah, he's constantly going there. And I think it is a good challenge for us today because we do it differently than they did in the first century. Mm-hmm. We don't disfigure our faces, as the verse says, to show that we're fasting. But with social media, we're constantly putting an image. I had someone just recently, they saw me on Facebook and they said, I love your happy life. And I just thought about that. I thought that was really interesting because I do have a happy life, but they don't know that I have a happy life. They just saw it on Facebook that I have a happy life. Right. And I thought, how amusing. But we do that. You know, if I go and give to the poor, a lot of times you'll see, like, look at the selfie. Can I get a selfie with the homeless guy?
Yeah.
And it's the same type of thing.
How many likes can I get for this?
That's right.
How much adulation? I can't even talk.
Adulation.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I get for, and Jesus constantly says, if that's what you're looking for, then you got it. Yeah. Congratulations.
That is your
good
reward.
for you.
Yeah, that is your reward.
That's it.
And I think that is a good point because today it is likes. It is that's
followers,
followers and likes
and retweets or whatever or TikTok. I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff.
But I think if we were to rewrite this in modern day English, it would say, do not try to get likes and followers. Do these deeds quietly, privately.
Right, because they contribute to the kingdom.
Yeah.
And that's what Jesus is looking for, is that inward transformation of our heart and soul that then translates back into our external actions that directly bring the kingdom to bear in people's lives.
Yeah. Well, prior to this, in the last chapter, he says, it can sound contradictory. He says, let your light shine before men that others can see your good deeds and glorify God in heaven. So it's kind of this contrast of saying, well, wait, you're telling me to do these things and let your light shine. At the same time, don't let it be public. And I think that's what it goes back to motive. Yeah,
it goes back to motive and that idea that who you are will be seen.
Yeah.
Be natural in who you are.
Yeah,
your authentic self will be recognized. Yeah. And it's okay, right? When you're in your authentic self, when you're serving Jesus, people will notice it, but you're not doing it for the purpose of being noticed.
That's right.
If you happen to be seen in doing it, that's okay, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to go around in the dark being a Christian, and it's just go about the course of your life, becoming who Jesus wants you to be, and that's what impacts the world.
It's funny, this verse about fasting, sometimes you'll get invited to lunch, and if you're in the middle of a fast, you're kind of conflicted. Do I tell them I'm fasting?
Well, so let's talk a little bit about fasting. Fasting is a spiritual practice. One of a good resource if you want to undertake fasting is the book, The Spiritual Disciplines by Richard Foster. He has a chapter on fasting. It just simply outlines how you do it and why. But the idea is to deny yourself something so that and often that can be food. Yep. People do fast for long, extended periods of time. How about you? Have you ever attempted a fast?
I have, yeah. It's not something I've done as consistently as I should, but I have done it. And the purpose of it is you're to give up food, let's say, for the purpose of feasting on the Word and a time of searching the Scriptures. And so it's not just this willpower of giving up food.
No, it's not a willpower thing. And actually, if you try to do it out of your willpower, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
It's that when you feel that pain, the hunger pain, is to prompt you into prayer and into connecting more deeply with God. And it's an interesting thing. It is a recognized, established spiritual discipline to deny, and often to fast in search of an answer. Maybe if you've got a big question, if you're discerning something, a time of fasting is often a way to get there. But do be careful with it. Yeah. I would encourage you, if you have any health issues whatsoever, to talk to your doctor.
That's right.
But you can also fast from other things.
That's right.
You can fast from social media.
Yeah.
I've been doing that for about 25 years now, and I can tell you I'm pretty good at it.
That's it.
What I need to fast from is my news feed on my phone.
Yeah.
Or you can fast from. So for me, my practice. This is being shown on a Friday. I typically take Fridays off. I don't check email on Friday.
Yeah, that's good.
I refer to that as I fast from email on Friday. Friday goes better when I do that. But you can fast from any number of things. Most times occasionally people fast from water, not highly recommended. But people, I mean, it's an interesting thing. Do your research. But again, Richard Foster, The Celebration of Discipline, even though it's an older book.
It's a great book.
It's a classic. You can probably just find that chapter online. There at Denver, there's a copy in the library, and I have a couple of copies in my office if you'd like to borrow it.
Yeah, that's great.
So, what's going on at Huntersville this weekend?
I'm sure we have a lot going on. I'm still jet lagged from
still trying to figure out where you are.
So I don't know. I just learned what day it was.
Yeah, right. I know that's a lot. I mean, we're talking a couple of weeks out from this recording. I do ask you to be in prayer for the services this coming weekend at Denver. David Washko will be preaching. Nice. And look forward to what David has to say about these texts around prayer and fasting. And if you know David is one of the most disciplined people I've ever met. If anyone knows what they're talking about when it comes to discipline, it's David. So probably why we had him preach.
That's awesome. That's great. I look forward to catch that. That's great.
So thank you for being with us. Thank you, Rod.
Yeah, thank you.
Just keep up the good work. Try not to wear yourself out carrying Paul's water. And we will see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.